Elliott Powell. You know what time it is. It is Thrive, time for the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn uncertainty to your greatest competitive advantage. Now, today, I got a special guest. I got my co-author, I got my partner, I got my right hand here, Dr. Mary Kelly. And we are going to be doing this show every single month, talking about what you need to do to put yourself in the driver's seat and 100% in control of your career. And guess what? You grab control of your career, you're going to grab control of your life. So get your pen, get a paper, get your phone, something to take notes. We're about to get started. All right, welcome back to Thrive. Again, I've got Dr. Mary Kelly here, author of 15 books, Commander Mary Kelly, PhD in economics, and the list of accolades would be too long to go through because we would never get to anything important on this show. So Mary, we are here to talk about our latest creation, You Next, a book designed to help you take charge of your career. Tell the audience just a little bit about the book, and then literally, we have questions from our listening audience about what they need to do to take charge of their career.
This is the book. It is red and white. When you see it on Amazon, it's called You Next, a step-by-step guide to taking charge of your career. And we wrote this book as the follow-on to the succession planning book because we identified a need for young professionals. And by young, I mean anybody under 45 or 50 because I'm old. If you're a young professional and you're trying to figure out how can I do a better job at work? How can I be happier with the work I do? How can I align my career with my values? How can I get the promotion I want? How can I best position myself so that I have the life I want? This is the book. Because we looked at where the needs are in the workplace, and then we married that up with specific action items you can do to make those changes in your life, to take the right action. See, this is what's tricky. A lot of us take action, but it's wasted action. If we're wasting time and it doesn't matter, then that's just wasted time. And a lot of us, frankly, we spent years of our careers wasting time doing things that we probably shouldn't have done, that it wasn't getting us where we wanted to go. So we want to make sure you don't make the mistakes we did with our careers. This book, You Next, is the book for you.
Awesome. All right. Are you ready for some questions from our listening audience?
I'm so excited that we've had folks listen to the episodes, take a look at the book, and then give us some questions, some struggles they're having right now, today, at work, and they're asking for advice. And I love it when people ask people for advice because they're willing to take feedback, they're willing to try something new, and they're willing to be brave.
All day long. All right. Our first one is Ronaldo from Park City, Utah. Ronaldo, I hope you're headed to do some unbelievable skiing this weekend. So Ronaldo's question is, I have been passed over twice for a promotion I feel I am really qualified for. When I have asked for feedback or reasons why, my supervisor just tells me my time will come. I am tired of waiting. What is your advice?
So I think for Ronaldo, Mayor, I think he could benefit from the Appendix F in the book. There's two things that I think would help him. The first is Appendix F. Now, Appendix F, and if you've got the book, Appendix F is on page 201. And this is the credibility gut check worksheet. Now, this asks you some questions about how you might be perceived in the workplace. Some people are perceived in a way that is very different from what they think they're doing. So this is you taking a very realistic approach to how well you're really doing. It's only about 12 questions, but there's some multiple questions. So it's in total about 25 questions. And it addresses things like, how do your colleagues see you? How do they view you? Do you keep your promises? Are you handling conflict well? Are you demonstrating empathy? Are you being understanding? Things that we expect more senior leaders. So step one would be, I would recommend doing that gut check credibility worksheet and then taking those results and asking for some time with your boss and saying, hey, I really want to dive a little bit deeper into how I can be an even better contributor to this organization. And I've looked at this worksheet and I've identified some areas that I think I need to work on, but I want to make sure they're aligned with what you think I should work on. And that to me is a very powerful exercise, because you might think I need to work on my public speaking skills, and I might need to work on my empathy skills, and I might need to work on something else. And your boss may say, no, your problem is you have a temper problem, and that comes out in meetings and it makes people feel like they can't talk in front of you. And until that gets fixed, nobody wants to work with you. And maybe you didn't know that. So this would be step one. What do you think? What do you think about step one, Mayor?
I love step one. I think that's a great. I think the very first person you need to be honest with is yourself. The other is you need to figure out if the organization's being honest with you. And that's really, really important. You need to figure out, is it really just a matter of time, or is he unwilling to have a confrontational conversation with you? And a lot of leaders are unwilling to have that confrontational, conversation with you. So Ronaldo, this is what you do. Step one, absolutely what Mary said. Go to Appendix F, go through that assessment, really do a gut check. I mean, are you really ready for this promotion? And what could you do to be more prepared? Then you need to go and ask for more feedback, and ask for it in this way. Say, so much, I so appreciate, I want to be ready when my time comes. If you were sitting in my seat, what would you specifically need or want me to work on so that I could be ready? Get those specifics as to why you haven't gotten the promotion. Now, here's what you're going to learn from that, because when the time comes again, if you've done what they told you to do and you still don't get the promotion, you've learned that maybe this isn't the place for you, that the opportunity isn't going to be there. Now, here's the bonus of that. Because you're more prepared than you ever will before, that opportunity might come in a different organization.
The other aspect of this, and it's in one of the chapters, is keep a running log of your accomplishments. Because let's face it, your boss is just a mere human just like you, and they may not know all the things that you're doing. And so one of the things you can also do is you can tell your boss, hey, at the end of this month, I want to stay accountable to you as well as myself. So would it be okay if at the end of every month, I just sent you what the goals I set and then what I did? I want to stay accountable. Now, you're managing your boss a little bit there. What you're saying is, I need you to pay attention to the stuff I've been doing, because I don't think you know. But you're doing it in a way that asks for their help. Hold me accountable. At the beginning of every month, I want to set the goals that I need to accomplish this month, the projects I need to finish, whatever that is. And then at the end of the month, I want to send you that so that I stay accountable. So that's a really nice way. And then at the end of like 6 months, 12 months, all you have to do is take that compilation of your monthly activities, put it together, and then you've got your argument for why you deserve that promotion.
Excellent. All right, Mary, you ready for question number 2?
Ready.
All right. So question number 2 comes from Claire from Idaho Falls, Idaho. She graduates in May and cannot wait. My degree, she says, is in graphic design, and there's not a lot of opportunity out there in my field. I have interviewed a few times, but no offers. I'm thinking of going to grad school. Is that a good idea?
Ooh, okay. So this is near and dear to my heart. Hey there. So glad for your question, because my niece, I have a niece, Claire, and she is graduating in May with a degree in graphic design, computerized graphic design, all this other stuff. She thought she wanted to work for Disney, do the animatronics and the robots and the film and all that stuff. And what she's done that I thought was smart, and maybe you could start thinking about this now, and you'd have to start moving pretty fast, is she started doing, for money, she started taking small design projects. And she took on design projects for anybody and everybody. She got paid, but she built her portfolio. And so now, when she's heading into the job market in May, she's already compiled a list of work that she's done that people are using. Businesses are paying her and they're actually using these designs. So that would be one thing that I might suggest, is make sure that you've put together your portfolio, and it's not too late to start. And some areas where I know people are always looking for help, specifically in your field, look for nonprofits you love. Look for your local Rotary, Kiwanis, Elks, Moose. Any of the big national nonprofits are always looking for marketing help, marketing ideas, and offer to design something for them for their fundraiser. They will love you for it. You'll get into those organizations, but more importantly, you'll meet the people in those organizations. And guess what those people in those organizations do? They run companies, they run businesses, they're smart business people, and they're going to have good ideas for you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that suggestion, mostly because it is not taking no for an answer. It's finding a way to take action around it. The other thing I'm going to tell you is don't go to grad school. Boy, that is controversial, I know. Now, grad school may be right for you down the road, but you've been in school for 4 years. It's time to take what you've learned and learn to apply it. I don't care what job you have to take. I don't care if you answer phones at the dental office and do what Mary told you to do at night. You'll find something, but grad school is going to mean so much more to you if you work a little bit first. The other thing is, I love what Mary told you, because I got to tell you, if I'm getting a bunch of resumes from somebody in college, it all looks vanilla to me. But if I get a resume from somebody who couldn't find a job, but took the initiative to start taking projects on their own, doing things, put together a portfolio, now you've differentiated yourself from the pack. The last thing is work the network. I told a student this yesterday. I said, you need to go to your parents and say, give me every friend you've got that owns a business or has a job, and I am going to go on an informational interview with them. I'm going to talk to them about how they started their career, what they like about their career, what they don't like about their career, what they wish they would have done different at my age. Because the more people you ask for advice and input, you'll not only get a great education, but you ask for advice, you'll find a job. You ask for a job, you'll get advice. So put the grad school off a couple of years, and then open yourself to just getting out there, building relationships and learning. By taking those steps, you're going to find opportunity. And then when it's time to go to grad school, you'll be far better prepared.
And I love that so much. If you ask for a job, you'll get advice.
Yeah.
And if you ask for advice, you'll get a job. I'm kind of thinking we should have put that in the book. That's
Yes.
a really great quote. And I love that. And Claire, I got to tell you, I've been a professor for over 30 years. I've taught in grad schools as well. And I'm going to agree with Meridith with one small change, is that you can go to grad school part-time. What I don't love is that people go to grad school as a delaying measure of growing up. And I know that sounds a little bit harsh, and I don't mean it to be harsh, but a lot of people are like, well, I'm a senior in college and nobody is coming knocking on my door with a really big fat salary for me. So I'm just going to delay that process by a couple of years by going to grad school and hoping that grad school makes me more marketable. First, what makes you marketable is your talent, skills, knowledge, and experience. Graduate school can be a part of that, but keep in mind, graduate school, folks, we're only talking 12 to 15 classes. You can do that standing on your head in 2 years part-time. You really, really can. You're already used to the school thing. So if you want to do that, great, but do it part-time. Go out and get some work experience and build up that portfolio on both a local level, like with your local organizations, your local chambers of commerce. They might have people who need you, but also then put yourself out there as a global resource. Put yourself out there on Fiverr and Upwork and get some experience. And that way you can say, yes, I've designed projects for companies in 3 countries. Good for you. Get some of that. And it might open you up to other more permanent full-time positions that you hadn't considered.
I love that. I love that. The reason that I am I'm so adamant about waiting a little bit on grad school, and I think it's a great suggestion to do it part-time, but it's like I think about any doctor I've ever had. My favorites have been the ones who were a nurse or worked in the emergency unit first. Yeah, they did something before they went back and finish the rest of their medical degree. The most like anybody who's owns a restaurant, if they started out waiting tables, there's just something about feeling work. It reminds me when I became a banker and they sent me right off to lending school and I'd never made a loan. I didn't even know what they were talking about, so there's just something to that real world. But I think that Mary made such a great point. Do not use it as a delaying tactic and hoping that all of a sudden the market will be different when you get out. Because if you can find a job in a tough market, guess what? It's going to be easy to find a job in a hot market. So learn to find a job in a tough market. All right, Mary, we got one more question. And this question is from Rico in Mexico City. I am new in my role as a leader. They put me in charge of the sales team because I love sales and I'm good at it. But I hate being the sales manager. I just don't like this role. Should I say anything? Whew, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Enrico, congratulations, first off, on being that person who got promoted. So I guess I would ask, what don't you like about the role? Is it because you're having to hold people accountable? Is it because you're no longer doing as much of the client-facing things as you did before? Because you could probably still do some of that. You could go on sales calls with your people. You could train them. You could help them. What is it about this new role that you don't like? For some people, they just don't like having to manage other people. If that's you, you need to say something. You need to go to your boss and say, you know what, I really appreciate the faith and confidence you have in me with this role. But the reality is I'm best just making calls, calling on customers, calling on clients, making sure they're happy, closing deals. I want to do that all the time. And I really appreciate the fact that you trust me with the team. But here's how I think I might be able to be better. Maybe I become the sales team trainer, not the sales team leader. And if I was the sales team trainer, I could tell people my best practices. I could share, role-playing scenarios. I could put them in, the hot seat, and we could all become a stronger team. Because as the sales team manager, and you tell your boss honestly, I just don't feel like this is the best use of what I'm good at. And frankly, it's stressing me out.
Yeah. You know what I love about your answer, Mary, is that basically you've said, go and admit that you don't like the job, but go with a plan. Like, don't just leave them high and dry. Don't just leave them cold. Say, hey, I really, this is where I think that I could add value and how I could help other people. And then be willing to say, look, I'm going to stay in this role as long as you need me to stay in this role and do this until you find the right person, until you find the right lead, and I'll help them out. You're just letting them know. The more important part of this, Rico, though, and you're young in this, and so this is a good lesson to learn early on. Don't just take a job because it's offered to you. Really get a lot of clarity. We talk a lot about this in the book, getting clarity on your vision and your values, on what's important to you. Because even though I think you would be perfect for something, what if it wasn't the right opportunity? I'll give you a great example. Back when I was a banker, they were grooming me to be the area executive, and they didn't tell me that. Now, I can't think of anything I wanted to do less than be the area executive. I didn't want to be in charge of all the people. I didn't want every monkey on my back. What I wanted to be was a consultant. So when the opportunity came up for area executive, I passed it by, and nobody could believe I did. And people told me I ruined my career. And I believed them. And I kind of rode that wave for about 6 months. But then I kind of thought about it, and I thought, I'm just going to believe that I can have what I want. And sure enough, within a year and a half, they created the position that I wanted. I was the only one in the financial institution they created it for. Yeah.
And see, that's the thing, Rico, is they value you. They value your talent and your experience and your energy and all those things. And so they're going to want to keep you. And it's okay to be honest with the people you work for about where you can best provide value. It's okay to have that conversation. And it's okay to say, I took the job and I love the fact that it's a little bit more money, but I have to tell you, it's probably not the best fit long term. And they will appreciate your honesty. As a leader, as somebody who's had lots and lots of people to manage, I had one young man, Again, he wasn't that young. He was like 40, but everybody's young to me. And I said, you've done all this other stuff. I would love to promote you into this job. And he looked at me and he said, no, thank you. And I went, what? And he said, I don't want it. He said, I've already had that job. I've already had this job. I've already had this job. He said, I like what I do. I am good with customers. I am good sitting in this front-facing customer role. He said, and when I go home at night, I sleep well. I don't have to think about work. And he looks at me dead in the eye and goes, I don't think about you. I don't think about anything about you. He said, I go home and I am happy. He said, I've already had all the high stress stuff. I'm not interested. He said, but thank you for thinking of me. And for me as a boss, that was great clarity, because you know what I did? I went on to the next person.
Exactly.
Somebody who wanted that job. So clarity, you're doing your boss a favor by giving them clarity.
Awesome. Well, Mary, it's hard to believe we are at the end of the show, but everybody, listen, join us right back here next month. Send your questions in to either Mary or me. Mary, tell everybody how to find the book that they can take charge of their own careers and their lives.
Everybody, we have great free resources for you that support this book. It's at unextnow.com, Tons of free resources. There's a book guide, there's a workbook, there's the tools workbook. For a limited time, there's also all the chapter summaries. There are workbooks that you can customize for your organization, a link to buy the book on Amazon, Next, and you can find either one of us there. You can find me directly at mary@productiveleaders.com, and I will put your questions in the queue for the show and send them to Meridith.
All right. We'll see you right back here next month.